Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the South Dakota Healthy Nutrition Collaborative's Lunch and Learn series. Today we have Tim Meagher, and he will introduce himself. But before we get to Tim, I just want to give a brief intro to the collaborative for those that are new. So, the purpose of the South Dakota Healthy Nutrition Collaborative is to bring a collective voice to support access to nutritious food, which brings a strong foundation for healthy South Dakota families and communities to prosper. That is our purpose. We always go back to it in this collaborative work we're doing. The collaborative is organized into three goal groups. One is to improve coordination, identify areas for statewide research and evaluation, and promote programmatic best practices to improve South Dakotans' food and nutrition insecurity. The second is to elevate the voices of food and nutrition advocates, researchers, and individuals experiencing food and nutrition insecurity. And the third is to advance policy implementation to improve food and nutrition insecurity in South Dakota. So, with that, I am pleased to welcome Tim Meagher. And I just want to make sure I am not sharing my screen anymore. Is that correct?
No, you're not.
Okay. Tim, welcome. We are so happy to have you, and I will let you begin.
Great. So I'm Tim Meagher with Vanguard Hospitality. As far as my job goes, we have Maury's Steakhouse, Minerva's, and Grill 26. I'm also part of the South Dakota Health and Nutrition Collaborative, Friends of the Big Sioux River, and a couple of other participation organizations. So today I was just talking or coming to the group to talk about the challenges that we face with our purchasing, which is a interdependent way of purchasing system that we've created. It is by no means a well-oiled machine. It requires both sides, both the producer and us, to continually find ways to navigate through absolutely everything from weather to transportation. So why we do this is not what you might think. We really ripped the Band-Aid off our organization in 2020 with the COVID thing. The reason we did that is we were getting uh, mixed feedback from our distributors on what's happening and why. It inspired me to press in on it and challenge it, and also seeing that with supply chains disrupted, the biggest thing that I took away from that was how vulnerable our community is. And it's not specific to just Sioux Falls or South Dakota or whatever, but that's what I can see. And so seeing how vulnerable our community is on its dependency to import basic needs. Uh, so um, my natural character is not to follow suit, it's to challenge things. And so I'm not great at managing systems. I am great at challenging them. And so we started with, at that time, we had Cabana Grill. And basically, I said, buy everything you can from a farmer and let's just see what happens. Because on my side of things, the narrative is always, you'll never be able to do that in a large scale restaurant. all these reasons why things can't happen. And so we started doing that. We had an issue with beef at one point in time, and that was the cost within the week going up 60 to 70%. And I can't communicate that to the guests, so I just take it. And I was like, there's got to be a better way than this. So we started, our anchor was Morgan Ranch out of Burwell, Nebraska, which we had a long-term relationship with. And we asked them, because at that point, exports were shut down. And do you have extra beef? Can I supply Maury's with that? And they said, absolutely. So the beginning of this new understanding for me was under like engaging this win-win situation where what price works for you? What price works for me? How do we get it to each other? And does that still make sense? And do both of us win? And so I was, for me, it's abandoning this click buy situation. Where we order today for tomorrow, and I had to learn. That was the beginning of learning the cycles of all living things. Let's say, uh, what does it take to grow broccoli? When does it start? When can you harvest? More often than not, to how many cattle do I need 9 months from now? uh, which is basically I had to throw everything I learned about restaurants in the garbage. And so we started to engage this. The more I engaged it, the more that I saw the lack of a local food system that we can depend on. And it's the one thing coming out of COVID that I saw made us most vulnerable because we are not used to uh, having an answer to what happens if I can't drink the amount of water that I want to, or what happens when I go to the grocery store and there's not any ham, and how quickly people can lose self control surrounding those things. And so we do in regards to developing these relationships. We spend more time in the beginning of a relationship understanding each other's values, and then confirming that our values align so that we don't regulate each other. uh, we both have a high quality standard, and there's trust that goes into that. And uh, so we do everything from the farmers come drop off to our stores as agreed upon transportation. Sometimes we pay the producer, drive to the locker plant if it's protein, and then pay the locker plant and then take it back to our stores. Or sometimes we drive out to Fulton, South Dakota, as an example, and the sheriff and of Fulton and uh, other community members are there boxing up beef from which they had input the freezers onto their place. And every other week we drive to Omaha to pick up the majority of what we use for beef from it goes producer to locker. We pay the producer for everything and pick up there. So we've been doing that for 5 years now, every other week. The challenge is whatever you want to see it as a challenge. To me, it's we move like water. So whatever obstacles we have, we just figure out a way around it. Is it perfect? Probably not. If you were another business looking outside in, you probably question why we're doing some of the stuff we're doing. Uh, but at the end of the day, we're keeping our money. The biggest purpose behind what we're doing is I have control over quality. So a lot of what you get off the truck, like for lettuce, is garbage. Um, and it lasts 2 days and you can only yield 50% off of it. But from a local farmer, I can yield 90%. It does cost me more upfront, but much higher quality, and it's picked the day off more often than not. The vegetables are still hot from the field. So then I know that I'm serving uh, this nutrient dense food to our guests um, when I can and when it's available. It's South Dakota, it gets weird here. So, um, but uh, so that's the basis of what we do and why we do it. It's uh, not necessarily a marketing plan. It's more of a philosophy that's being exercised, and I want to, for us, uh, show other restaurants and retail that uh, choosing to uh, leverage your community for uh, what it is that you need for your business is a better option uh, than take, I call it the easy way, uh, which is basically not thinking and not engaging, uh, and having low quality garbage to serve your guests, whether it's grocery store or restaurant. And there is a better way. I think some people are waiting to see like how long we can stick it out, but we've uh, we've come this far to overcome a myriad of things, obstacles, and our goal with this, our long-term goal, is to take what it is that we've learned, and we're creating a framework that we can hand off to another community. So if they're like, hey, we have retail and restaurants, or we want to build an interdependent food system in our community, where do we start and how do we do it? And the goal is for us to be able to have something to hand over to say, start here. These are the fundamentals to make this successful, and then we can help however, because ultimately that's the good of the order. And it keeps there's freedom behind having uh, food sovereignty, and that's also part of it. Is these farmers need to scale up and be able to count on the community to continue to purchase, so that we are flexible. My personal goal with this is to push it as hard uh, in our state to where we import our wants, we import our wants and we produce our needs, so that when the next pandemic hits, I think worst case scenario, so not that that's coming, um, but when the next pandemic hits, we have each other's back and we didn't have to start from scratch. That relieves stress, that and anxiety. It keeps communities uh, uh, connected, uh, when you don't have the stress of, where am I going to get water? Where am I going to get food? And those types of things. So that's the kind of the goal, and a quick overview of what we do and why we do it, and why we're involved in things the way we are, and what we're kind of hoping to accomplish from that.
Awesome, Tim. Are you, excuse me. That was an awesome presentation. Thank you so much. Are there other things you wanted to share before we open the Q&A?
Not really. I want to hear if there's any questions first, because I tried to restrict myself from going down rabbit holes and taking up everyone's afternoon. So
Yes.
that's about as glazed over as I can get as an overview.
That's wonderful. And honestly, it was really, really, really well done. And I think I have a lot of questions. But before we stop the recording, I just want to thank you again, from the South Dakota Healthy Nutrition Collaborative. Being in your position, you are an agent for change in the food system, and we're really grateful that you were able to present today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop, and then we can open up the Q&A.